Hello, in this video we are going to show you how to find the local or relative maximum or minimum. Let's begin. So for example, I'm going to sketch two graphs. So this will be our first graph, and this graph does have the closed domain from -5 to 5, and okay, so our y value is 2 and -2. Okay, so if you look at this graph here, you can see that your left end and your right end of the graph, it doesn't go to the infinity. So when we ask you to find the local or the relative maximum or minimum, we're talking about the y values on the graph. Okay, so keep in mind we're talking about the y value on the graph. Okay, so on this graph, we can see right here, you different color. We can see right here that our maximum y value on this graph is 2. Okay, and our minimum y value on this graph is -2. So in this case, these 2 points where we have the y value. So those 2 points, someone say y equal 2 is our local max and also our absolute max. So now I introduce another concept, absolute. So it means that that will be the greatest. Okay. And again, when we talk about the absolute max, that is the greatest. So we can have more than one local max, but we only have one absolute max. So let's look at the lowest point on this graph. So in this case, this lowest point is y equal -2. So this will be our local mean and absolute mean at the same time. Okay, so again, by looking at the graph, right, we try to find the y value of the graph. Okay, so in this case, for this graph, y equal 2 is our local maximum and our absolute maximum at the same time, because that is that is the greatest. And y equal -2 is our local minimum and also our absolute minimum at the same time. Now let's look at the next example. So in this example, let's say that we will have a cubic function. Okay, so this is a cubic function. Now, if you look at here, your left end and your right end of the graph, they go to the infinity. So it means that if we're talking about the domain, on this graph, the domain be all real number on the x-axis. If you go back to the previous graph, the domain is from, we have to use this square bracket, -5 to 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the y value of the graph. So let's say that our y value right here, I'm gonna say 2 again, and -2. And I'm so sorry the way I draw it. It's not the second. Okay. So here we are. Now we go ahead and start with our y. Now when we talk about max and mean, the y value, the maximum y and the minimum y, you don't look at the left end and the right end. Okay, you don't look at the end of the graph. Okay, so here at this turning point, y equal 2. Okay, but at this point y equal 2 is only our local maximum. Okay, it's not our absolute max, it's just this local max. Okay, because if you look at here, that the right end of the graph, our function f of x or our y value will approach to the positive infinity. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and look at the bottom point. At this turning point, our y value is -2. In this case, it will be y equal -2 will be our local mean. Okay, so I hope that this video helped you to identify the local max and the local mean, or the absolute max and the absolute mean from the graph. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.